Chapter 4. The Verloran War and Other Conflicts. The university campus is hundreds of years old, patched up over decades. The buildings are an amalgam of historic sandstone foundations, cathedral-like lecture halls, and high-tech carbon structures and walkways. The small historic park in the center with its founding father statues is still a welcome meeting point for lecturers and students alike. Arya and Chiron walk hand in hand down the wide stairs of the Life Science Center for Environmental Biology. The building is financed as part of the Eco-Sustain Act that demanded a drastic change in research towards sustainable resources. Arya activates her arm clip and checks the daily menu of the cafeteria.
Really? Bison flavor again? We had bison 3 times this moon already.
So, take the hash browns.
Chiron shrugs as he swipes through his own display.
At least they're not grown in a glass dish, right?
He shudders.
It's perfectly natural and it's not grown in a glass dish. Actually, it's harvested from large solid state.
Chiron interrupts her.
Yeah, I know. For me, it's not meat when it's grown in a nutrient solution.
Sometimes, I wonder how you survive in a society like ours with views like yours.
Arya sighs, shaking her head. Chiron's occasional irrational opinions and mind-bending resistance to logic drive her nuts.
Pure speed, baby?
He replies, grinning. Arya and Chiron step through a sandstone arch into an expansive glass-case cafeteria that connects the campus to the city. It is midday and the bustling activity of hundreds of visitors fills the large hall with the indistinguishable hum of a beehive. This place has grown into a cultural oasis of ethnic cultures and religions where fundamental differences are left outside. Families like the reasonable food prices, and free seating is always guaranteed. Semi-legal street vendors weave through the crowd, engaging would-be patrons in lively sales pitches. Children run up and down the aisles.
So, what are your plans after the training?
Arya asks Chiron, while she orders her dish on her arm clip, bison goulash with rye bread.
We have public team night tonight.
Chiron replies.
Want to come? You can get my autograph.
He smiles teasingly at Arya.
Do I have to wear pom-poms?
She asks, feigning a high-pitched teenage voice.
And a short dress with an ugly green sweater.
Arya rolls her eyes. She hates all the fuss about the Discord team and all these oh-so-innocent young Amai and Len, adoring their idols. She pities them because she was one of them in her time.
You don't have to wear it, but it helps.
Chiron grins at her. Both wait in line to get their food trays. The air here is thick with the aroma of herbs, oils, and the sharp smell of baked bread.
No, thank you.
Arya assertively shakes her head, brown hairs flying around her cheeks.
Have fun with your fans, but count me out,
She says.
I still don't get how you can stand all of that.
Chiron and other Discourse stars are not just athletes, but public figures with millions of Call Me followers across the whole continent. The university's public relations team has a tight schedule of public appearances during the Discourse season, forcing the stars to appear in public regularly.
I guess I learned to separate my Discord life from my private stuff.
Chiron shrugs his shoulders as he picks up his tray.
That's a good lesson. Never forget that.
Arya also takes her tray, and they walk up to the gallery to find an empty table. Chiron glances at Arya and adds,
Actually, someone in school told me. I still know when and where.
Oh yeah? Who was it? Your coach?
It was Raylan. On the day you broke up with Persian and me.
Chiron secretly watches Arya's expression change into nervous attention as they sit down.
Oh,
She tries to cover her insecurity.
I haven't seen him in a while. How's he doing?
She asks, turning her face down to sort the bison bites on her plate. She anxiously awaits Chiron's answer.
I don't know.
Chiron says,
Last time I briefly talked to him after a game, looks like he's still at Winslow Security.
Oh, okay.
Arya answers shortly to change the topic.
So, what are you up to after team night?
How about we hang out with Everin at the Xer later tonight?
Chiron suggests.
Drinking? On a weeknight?
Arya is appalled.
You guys are crazy. No, I got advanced biomechanics early tomorrow. Don't want to miss it.
Arya opens her lemon water.
It may even help me with this bamboo assignment. The poor thing just needs some shade.
She holds the can up to her mouth, but just stares into the distance without drinking.
And there she goes again.
Chiron smiles at Arya's gaze into nothingness. He patiently waits for her to finish with whatever she is busy thinking. Inside, he feels proud that Arya lets herself daydream in his presence, but her daydreaming spells became more frequent in the past weeks. Even Evren notices her often musing attitude when the three of them hang out.
Must be her assignment.
Kyren thinks.
Pretty tough for a normal student to do postdoc stuff, but they must have chosen her for some reason. Smart as a Len, this Ama.
Kyren smiles to himself. Arya looks up at Kyren and finally takes a sip from the can.
Nothing, baby. Enjoy your meal.
Kyren replies and hacks away at his hash browns. With a full mouth, he mumbles,
I wish my brain would work like yours. Then I wouldn't have to worry about this stupid essay. What do I care about the war? The northern Verloran Strait is far away.
Well, you should care about it.
Arya insists.
If we don't stop them now, they will take one country after the other, and soon they will be at our borders.
Arya wholeheartedly aligns with the mainstream view on lasses that the Verloran aggressor must be stopped at all costs.
That'll never happen.
Kyren says.
Look at what they annexed so far. Some barren wasteland and desert countries without water.
He lists his arguments.
No resources but sand and scrubs. Barely enough water to keep a few 100,000 alive. The strait is half a globe away from our borders. And why would they annex the southeast of Lasses?
Kyren raises his eyebrows and answers his own question.
There is nothing down there. No water, no open coastlines, just sand and more sand.
Kyren becomes quite engaged on the topic that has ensnared his mind for some time now.
Look, the southern countries on Verlor already suffer under higher global temperatures. Their rivers run dry because their polar mountains hold less water. I say their endgame is to secure northern coastal areas with a milder climate. Like countries on our continent's northeastern coastline, that's why they need a foothold on Lasses.
Satisfied with his arguments, he nods confidently and leans back.
Wow, Crow, you are really into this.
Arya is truly impressed by Kyren's explanation. His analytical skills have really flourished during his time on campus. Sometimes she compares Kyren to Corrin. Corrin's charming ways and charisma were very attractive, but she found Kyren to be much more likable as a friend and triple partner with Evren. The university environment was exactly what Kyren needed to develop intellectually as a crow. Still, discussions between Evren and Arya about the current societal rifts or climate issues are too complex for Kyren to follow. And they sometimes willingly leave Kyren behind to find their own zone, experiencing the exciting chase for the right arguments or correcting logical fallacies. Arya nods back at Kyren.
I'd say you got this. Tell your AI what you just told me and work on it. If you want to, I can...
Kyren holds up his fork and interjects.
I know you can help me, but this is not school anymore. I'll figure it out.
He assures Arya but sighs at the work ahead.
If I ever get used to these AI.
Maybe Evren can help set your AI better?
Arya suggests.
No thanks.
Kyren laughs, shaking his head decidedly. He points his fork at his arm clip.
I won't let Evren near anything with an AI inside. She's a magician. She'll make my AI believe that I'm a split personality psychopath.
And you are not?
Arya asks innocently with wide open eyes.
Very funny.
Kyren grabs Arya's soda, downing it in one gulp. He burps.
That's what you get for being smart.
Oh, so now an AMA like me can't be smart.
Arya folds her arms across her chest and stares at Kyren.
What? No?
Kyren is caught off guard while Arya tries hard not to burst out laughing.
I didn't mean that. Of course, Amma can be...
He looks puzzled at Arya's laughing face and finally gets her tease.
Damn you! You're worse than Evren!
Well, I try to keep up with her.
Arya replies, smiling.
Yeah, she is something...
Kyren muses and pushes his empty tray back. He has been thinking about Evren and Arya more than he wants to admit. Evren told him a little about their past after school, but he knows little of Arya's past in her triple with Raylan.
Why did they break up?
Arya systematically cleans her plate with the rest of the rye bread. Satisfied, she places the empty soda can on the tray and pushes it aside. She smiles her Arya smile at Kyren.
She could be my Amma.
Kyren clears his throat and asks Arya in a casual tone.
How'd you get to know Evren?
Arya's smile fades as she glances over the cafeteria crowd, avoiding Kyren's eyes. She folds her hands on the table and reluctantly recalls the times at the end of her school days.
I know her from school,
She remembers.
but I got to know her better when I tried to support Corrin. They both lost their grip on life when Pris left. I did what I could to support them, but
An ugly memory crosses Arya's mind. The tussle between Raylan and Corran on that boat trip.
Chris left?
Chiron looks surprised.
Cora never told me. I just thought they'd split up.
Corran told Arya about Pris's pregnancy and why she left the city. She never told anyone about it,
no, she had to go.
she says, looking over the gallery.
Bummer.
Chiron looks down on his empty plate, while Arya contemplates her own past during that time.
So that's why you went all haywire after the loss and quitting the team.
Chiron shakes his head disapprovingly.
I've never talked to him again.
He muses.
And after school, I didn't have time for anything. University discord just swallowed me alive. I heard you went to the military.
Yeah, he's in the Navy. He sends circular messages to his family, and I'm on the address list. He's stationed up north in some Verloran Strait harbor.
No shit. Corn's up there?
Chiron sits upright in surprise and calls out,
It's dangerous up there.
deeply worried about his old Discord captain. He murmurs.
I hope he knows what he's doing.
Arya nods as she watches two little crow playing in the aisle.
Well, I think he lost his reckless attitude.
She continues quietly. The little crows erupt in squeaking laughter and race down the aisle, their small bodies vanishing in the crowd.
Real life can do that, right?
Chiron replies and recalls the MeTube videos on the local impact of the noble protective mandates as the Verloran War is called officially on lasses. Chiron is still worried about Corran's fate, but he also wants to know more about Arya's triple with Raylan and Evren.
So, how did you and Evren get tangled up?
He asks as they get up from the table, gathering their trays. Arya senses that Chiron wants to find out more than she is prepared to share with him. She sighs and reluctantly explains,
Do you remember her blackout in school? Probably not. That's when it started. The school council mauled her with supervised learning, and you know how stubborn she can be?
Yeah, listening to other people is not her thing, right?
Chiron nods as they walk down the gallery to return their dish trays.
Maybe the right people have to talk to her. Apparently, I was not the go-to Alma for her.
Could be. That old May in her toy shop sure is, though.
Yeah, and she is all over this Pico AI, her boss's little toy. I've yet to meet it, but she raves all the time about what this thing can do.
Arya fondly remembers Evren's enthusiastic stories about the little puppet, but Chiron presses on.
So, how did you two get to know that Crow Raylan?
That Crow is one of the most generous and loving people I have ever met.
Arya snaps back, taken by surprise. She continues defensively.
I mean, he's very smart and open and,
Arya's voice trails off. She grips her tray tighter and steps forward in line.
And he works for his dad?
Chiron dryly finishes Arya's sentence.
I don't want to talk about it anymore, okay? Ask Ev.
Arya frowns and slams her tray on the return conveyor.
But I don't have to, Arya. You just showed me what this crow means to you.
Chiron nods to himself. Arya walks briskly toward the exit without waiting for her friend. Chiron follows her more slowly, watching her stride through the crowd.
He has no right to probe me like that.
Arya fumes inside.
It's my past, my own. What's it to him if I still like Ray?
Her mind stumbles over that word. Still, she knows she should not have surfaced that idea, but there it is. Like a distant beacon of hope, it insists that their past glory could have a glorious future. And at the same time, she knows that the beacon's faint light will vanish in time. She is yet unsure if that will bring her relief or lifelong regret. In the beginning, she absolutely loved the splendor Raylan unleashed upon her in Evren. The marble halls of his father's estate and its nameless servants, the exquisite dishes, choice wines, and liquor of a kind Arya never tasted before. Everything felt perfect. Her triple blossomed into a deep relationship that fulfilled her beyond her teenage dreams. And yet people do change. She slows down and turns back to Chiron. She realizes,
I'm not mad at him, I'm mad at me.
She watches Chiron casually walk toward her, his long arms buried in deep trouser pockets. Arya enjoys watching the natural flow of Chiron's crow body. She even watches his highlight reels after the games, enjoying the effortless grace of his jumps and runs. As she waits for him, her agitated mind calms down. She has known Chiron since school, and even was in a triple with him and that obnoxious Len Purgeon.
Which I also broke up.
She finishes her thought.
Maybe it's me, Kyren, and Perjin, Raylan, and Evren. I'm a wrecking ball.
Arya frowns at this thought and tries to distract herself by checking her latest messages. As she looks up, Kyren stands before her, waiting for her to talk.
I'm sorry, Kyren. It's not your fault.
Arya exhales deeply.
I just don't know what to think of Raylan. I really loved him and Evren. He was so different then. But that is my past, not ours. And I want to have our future, you know?
She reaches up and quickly kisses Kyren.
Are we cool?
She asks, smiling at him.
Yeah, we're cool, right?
Kyren smiles back and takes her hand, relieved to see that familiar spark in her eyes. So that's Corin's story. Pity.
I was living the wrong life.